Hello, this is Bailey, and today I'm going to show all of Q how to make orange pomegranate glazed salmon. So, first step you're going to want to have is get an apron because they look cool. So I'm at my oven here. First thing you're going to want to do is turn your oven on to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Right. And then while that's preheating, we'll get the salmon ready. So the first thing you want is a nice sheet of Tip-Fork. There's supposed to be a way to put it. I'm not sure if it's shiny side up or shiny side down. I'm not sure anyone knows. I'm going to go with shiny side up because that looks pretty. Now, with most recipes, you're going to want to spray your pan with some cooking spray. But when you're cooking meat, such as salmon or chicken breast, you actually don't need to spray it because the fat from the meat will come off in the pan. So, first thing we're going to add is some veggies. Handy little kitchen scale here I'm going to use just to weigh out my ingredients. So we're going to start with some onions. So I'm going to use about 75 grams of onion. So that stuff there. Dump the whole thing in the pan. Alright. And then I'm going to add some carrot. Now I was actually organized this week and pre-sliced all these veggies. They were in like neat little rows, but now they're just in this. The amounts of the veggies don't really matter. I am just tracking them so I know how much I'm putting in the recipe. And it looks fancy when I use my scale. So I'm adding about 50 grams of chopped carrot. Put that down in there too. And lastly, I'm going to add some snap peas that I sliced up. You can put any veggies you want in here, really. These are just what I happen to have on hand. So, we got all our veggies right in the pan there. Right, and then the next thing you're going to want to do is add your salmon. So I bought these really cheap salmon fillets from Superstore. They come pre-packaged, which is like bad for the environment, but good for freezing, I guess, so I'm not wasting as much. we go. So we're gonna open these guys up, and I'm using 2 salmon fillets today. So they've actually still got skin on them, which is pretty cool to look at. Yeah, so I'm gonna keep the skin on and just put them in the pans. Beautiful. Just throw these guys in. Okay. Now, the next step is the glaze. So I found this glaze recipe online. Let me pull it up here. I just made a batch of this for the week, and then I cook new salmon every day. Alright, so to make this glaze, and this will cover about 4 servings, or 4 to 6 servings, depending on how much you use. Okay, so you want to add, I love ads on my cooking websites. Okay, so you want to add 4 tablespoons of olive oil, a half cup of brown sugar, a half cup of soy sauce, 5 or 6 cloves of garlic. You could also use garlic powder, a bit of lemon juice, like a couple teaspoons, 2 teaspoons of salt, and a teaspoon of pepper. And that's what is in here. Now, a serving of this for me is going to be 2 tablespoons. That way I have enough to last the whole week. Okay. So we're going to take our glaze. Alright, and just put it on top of our salmon. So if your servings are 2 tablespoons each, you can get about 7 servings out of that one batch of glaze. Alright, beautiful. Okay, so now comes the last part of the recipe before we put the salmon in the oven. So you notice we've got our nice glaze there on top of the vegetables. It looks great. Alright. Then I'm just going to take a clementine. The original recipe, well, one of the recipes I based this off of, it uses oranges, but we had clementines hanging around that were going a bit moldy, so clementines it is. Now, last time I didn't slice these open, and I didn't really get that orange juice, so this time I'm going to take the little clementine pieces and slice them into smaller pieces. I'm just going to kind of put these around the salmon. You can also put them on top, but I found last time this got in the way of the glaze. Our oven's ready, perfect timing. last thing we're gonna add is some pomegranate. So you can actually buy frozen pomegranate seeds. I promise this recipe is not an ad for Superstore. I was not paid by Superstore or endorsed in any way. This is so Sobeys doesn't sue me. Alright. So you can kind of add as much pomegranate as you want. For consistency, I'm going to weigh mine. And yesterday, I used about 35 grams. So just kind of sprinkle this pomegranate on top. It'll bring a nice sweetness to the salmon along with the orange. It also looks very colorful, which I'll show you in a minute. Perfect. So that should be all our ingredients. Just to show you our creation here. Beautiful. Okay. So the last thing you're going to want to do before you put it in the oven is you want to fold the tin foil down over the top of the salmon. You don't want any of those juices getting out. Our salmon, and our oven's preheated at 375, so we're going to stick it in the oven. Alright, and you're going to want to cook that salmon for about 20 or 25 minutes. It depends on how frozen the salmon is in the middle. Ideally, you want to take the salmon out of the freezer. If you're freezing it, you want to take it out of the freezer the night before and put it in the fridge. If you're like me and forget, just take it out an hour before and put it on the counter, and it'll be somewhat thawed. So, now it's cleanup time. Alright, we're back. It took 35 minutes, but the salmon is finally cooked. So you want to cook your salmon to an internal temperature of about 145 Fahrenheit. And then the last thing we're going to do is just brown it up a bit on the top. So I'm going to cover up my veggies with the tin foil around the edges. Like this. I'm going to put the broiler on. So what the broiler does, as opposed to the oven, is the broiler just provides top heat in the oven, and it's quite a high heat. What the convection in the oven does instead is it's got the little grills along with the oven, and that warms up all of the air in the oven. Whereas putting it under the broiler is kind of like just putting it out in the bright sun or something like that. So I'm going to try not to lock the fire alarm this time. And now we wait. I'm going to wait about 5 minutes. Alright, so now we've taken our salmon out of the oven. Last step is we're going to plate the salmon. For fancy people, that means like arranging it and shit on like sauce. But I'm just gonna dump it on a plate. off before eating if you haven't eaten salmon before. We got this nice bun of veggies here. Which are very tasty. So put all the veggies in the sauce. All those tasty salmon and orange juices. Sure. It's a thing. There we have it, our finished salmon. It may not look very great, but it is very tasty, full of veggies, full of protein, and the whole thing is about 450 calories. So it's a really good meal if you're trying to lose weight or if you just really like salmon. Thanks for watching, everyone.